But in the studio with me tonight is the newly elected president of the Ghana Olympic Committee, Mr. Akpokavie, is in the studio. And we're going to have a very interesting conversation about all of his plans and how we can also help him to succeed in his first term of office. It's 4 years, and let's see how we can support him to win. More especially, he has to get Ghana a very good medal at the Olympics. It's one of the dreams of every president to see that happen. It happened the last presidency time, Bernardo Mensah's time. He got us a bronze from the Paris Olympics through boxing. And let's see how Mr. Akpokavie will start off his journey in this new role as president of the Ghana Olympic Committee. Such a high office as far as that is concerned. Mr. Akpokavie, good afternoon, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Good, really good to see you.
Yes.
But just a correction. Mm-hmm. The medal was in Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Yes.
Tokyo Olympics.
In
Last
2020. Unfortunately, boxers, we didn't qualify.
Yeah. Tokyo Olympics in 2020.
Yeah, it was held in 2021.
2021, in fact, yes, where we got the bronze. Thank you for the correction and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's been worth it, isn't it?
Yes, it's been worth it.
It's been coming in droves.
That's it. It's been good, really good.
Yes.
And I thank all the federation people who entrusted me with this responsibility, and I can assure them that we work hard together.
There was a whooping victory too.
Well, we won. That's important.
It's not 38%. It's 40-something, 50-something. Then you are going kakakakra.
Yes.
But congratulations to you.
Yes.
And was it difficult? Was it a hard journey?
Yes, it was. I mean, you need to. I've been out for the last 4 years. I was Secretary General for 8 years, and I've been out for the last 4 years. So it was good in the sense that I was. From the outside, you also see things differently.
Yeah.
So you get a chance to. So when those who are inside too, after experiencing different people, then it's easy for you to compare. So when you tell us something and what you can do and what you've done before, it's easy. You're able to convince them, look, because there's something to compare. So it's been good, and I had a lot of goodwill because of my own, track record, my experience, and of course, my passion for sports.
I know that, you're a national fan too. I know that.
Definitely, I'm a national fan.
So you're looking forward to a Champions League finals?
Charlie. Not just the finals,
but to win the cup.
We need to.
Yeah, bro.
At least league and things we can boast to, but the Champions League.
But let's also pray that Spurs won't win anything.
No, we don't want to cry.
No, we can't live in London.
Not London. We'll not survive there.
We can't live in London. Well, anyway, so going into this, it was familiar territory, somewhere that you've already been before, somewhere that you knew. What do you think that, or how do you think that the other federations received your message? Very
well, in fact, because having been federation president and involved with the federation, having an athlete, and having been at the GOC.
You were an athlete in Motown?
Yeah. And I played the national hockey team, captained the national junior hockey team, captained the national senior hockey team for almost a decade before I retired. Became a coach, became an umpire, a technical official, and then, administration. So I've been, You've been in the mix, yes, for some time. So I understand what it's about and so it was easy to sell my message to them. And when I sell it, they believe it because they know I've experienced it. I'm not reading from a book or something. I've been part of it, so they understood what I wanted to do, and they bought into it.
In terms of the health of the GOC, in which state do you find it?
To be honest with you, I can't say anything definite now because the handover is going to take place sometime this week. So we need to, really take our time when we handover is done, then we can speak to some of these things. But I mean, at the last Congress, the audited accounts were rendered, so we have the audited accounts. But we also need to exactly see what it's in store because the devil is in the details.
Yeah.
So we need to look at that and see.
But you have a fair idea of where it is at the moment.
A fair idea.
Because you certainly would definitely know where you want to take it.
Yes, definitely.
But before you know where you want to take it, you want to definitely know where you are coming from.
Yes.
So where it is at the moment,
look, let me put it this way. Tokyo, we had a medal after a long time. The expectation was that we'll build on this in Paris.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Paris wasn't very good. And in fact, if you look at the history of our sports, athletics and boxing are always there at the Olympics. Unfortunately, we didn't qualify boxers. So that should tell you that there's some things we can do better to make sure that we get everybody to the Olympics. So I think we need to improve in certain areas. There's no doubt about that. And for me, it's because I think we don't have a plan, a master plan. We must know from now to the next Olympics. The Olympic, they operate in quadrennials. After every Olympics, you must know your plan for the next Olympics. That's the way it works. UK, after the Tokyo Olympics, they distributed funds, all the sports for the next Olympics, give them their targets they need to meet. That's how it should work. So for me, I think that the important thing is that we should know that next 4 years, what do we want to achieve? How do we want to achieve it? How much do we need to achieve it? And we can only do that if we have some understanding of what we want to do. Which sports are we likely to take? Team sports or individual sports? And if it's individual sports, who are those who can qualify? Because we are talking about the Olympic Games, the best of the best. It's not, yes, we go, if you don't win a medal, it's okay, but you still have to go there at a certain level. Otherwise, there's no point in going there. So these are things that we can do. So our plan is that sometime this month, we'll go for a retreat. All the federations. We're going to sit down, discuss, talk. And out of that, we'll have a plan. And when we get a plan, we'll have a budget attached to the plan. And what are the targets we want to meet? So that when we come back and we go and see Minister Adams, we're not just going to talk in a vacuum. We're going to say, look, this is what President Mahama wants to achieve in 4 years. This is how we want to help him to achieve that target. And these are the things we want to do year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. So that at the end of year 4, Mr. Mahama, Mr. Adams can tell the president that, look, the work you gave me, this is what we have achieved. But we can do that if we have a plan, the minister buys into it, the NSA buys into it, so that the federations together, we can develop this thing. We know that there's nowhere in the world that funding can all come from government. So government will know that, look, it can only support to a certain extent. So we need that plan as well to make sure that we get support from the corporate world. We cannot go to MTN or Goldfields or Newmont and go and say that, oh, give us money for what? What is the benefit? We need to have a plan. Because gone are the days when you just sit in your office and write a letter to an institution that, oh, I want support. No. Because we don't want just sponsors. We want partners. We are going to have a journey. Mr. Banson, we want you to accompany us on this journey from now to the Olympics in 2028. This is what we want to do. These are the sports we are likely to go with. These are the athletes involved. These are the various things we want to do in terms of support for coaching, in terms of medical support, in terms of competition. What can you do? Do you prefer a particular sport, or you want to do a general thing? How can you do it? We don't want you to give us the money in our account. We want to jointly, if we have to open an account somewhere, controlled by you and GOC. So you want to do athletics. For instance, Rose Yeboah, she was at the last Olympics. She didn't get a medal, but her record for high jump in this case is 1.97. If she does that, if she had done that at the Olympics, last year, she would have gotten a medal. So question is that how can we help her? So I want Rose from this year to know that we have her back, so that when she's going for competition, she doesn't have to worry. She just gives us a program together with Ghana Athletics. Ghana Athletics, which is responsible for the athlete, with GOC will sit down and agree on that. Okay, Rose will have 3 competitions this year, 2 next year, 4 in 2027, whatever. And this is a cost, hotel, medical support in case. Like, then
we'll come to some of those nitty-gritties. But what's your plan for the first 100 days?
There are 2 things I want to do first. Number 1, the athletes. The Athletes Commission doesn't have a voice in what we are doing. They don't have a voice at Congress. They don't have a voice at on the executive board, and we want to change that. So we want to make sure that the Athletes Commission is formed, and it's part of what we do. Number 2, we want to have a plan. We want to have a plan, a clear plan, and as part of the plan, we want to know what each federation wants to do, and then we put this as part of a plan, so that we are driving this plan together with the federations. Number 3, there's so much division. I mean, we have one team GOC. How do we get so that in team GOC, everybody is on board? So the 3 things I want to achieve initially are these 3 things. 1, to make sure that the Athletes Commission is functional and active in what we do, so that their voices are heard when we are taking decisions which will affect athletes. Number 2, would have a plan in place for anybody to see. And this plan will be driven by the federations, all of us inputting into that plan. And then number 3 is what I talked about in respect of the divisions. Yeah, we have to stop that.
How were those divisions created?
Several reasons. I mean, competition always sometimes brings division. When you have competition, I mean, some like proper sportsmen, even though after the competition you shake hands, some people still shake hands and still.
Is that supposed to be rivalry, isn't it?
Yes.
Healthy rivalry.
Healthy rivalry. That's proper sportsmanship. But like in actual sports, there are some people who can take defeat easily. There's some people who also, when they win, they are not accommodating enough. They try. I mean, when you do that, sometimes it's difficult to, get people on board. So what I've been trying to preach this, even before the elections and now, is that, look, we are one. One of the things I said in my sentence was that the elections 2025 is over. We are not having elections till the next 4 years. So let's work together. So it's important we work as a unit, as a team. First of all, I want the executive board to be one. When we do that, it will also affect the federation, because there are about 15 federations represented on the executive board. So it's important that we get that right. So unity is key, because as you know, in the sports fraternity, the GOC represents the sports bodies, the disciplines, as one. When we are strong and united, then we can engage with the ministry properly, with government properly, and also with the corporate world, because funding is a major issue. And that's how we can do it.
We'll come into the funding bit and what your plans are for funding and how you hope to navigate, this funding quagmire that we all find ourselves sometimes. But let me also find out from you. I mean, there have been many calls. I mean, about the necessary patterns that our federations, perhaps to put it this way. There have been a lot of calls asking for us to grade the federations because you cannot have the football, the athletics, the boxing, the arm wrestling, and all those federations receiving same by way of funding like the other sports. Do you subscribe to that?
I do. In fact, there's no serious sports country that does not grade. It happens. But the important thing is that the criteria for the grading, it must be clear. The federations must know, they must understand that if I'm able to reach this mark, then this is the grade I'll get. If it is clear and everybody understands, it's easier that way. Because in the UK, before UK Sports funds you, they look at your performance. At the last Olympics, what did you do? What medals did you bring? It's important. Then, okay, you need more funding. Look, you didn't do well. We gave you so much money. It's like any investment.
Like an appraisal.
You are there. If you give you money, you didn't do well, then we should give it to somebody else who need the money. The important thing is that the federations must know the criteria, must buy into it, and we all agree and sign onto it that this is the way we want to do it. Because it is not enough just to say the sport is popular. True, but if we are giving resources based upon performance, then those sports that may not be very popular but are performing and are winning medals in not only in Africa but globally should also be rewarded.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of understanding the criteria and making sure that we are all on the same page. That's very, very important. But I agree with you. We need to categorize sports. Yes.
What's your plan for the almighty funding? I was just mentioning prior to you coming on air that back in the day in athletics, for example, you had the mobile games, and it was such a refreshing moment to have all our athletes fly down and compete with our local guys and all of that. But, what's your plan for, getting corporate funding because like you just rightly mentioned, you cannot depend on government for everything. So what's your plan?
It's simple, but also difficult challenge because there are competing interests everywhere. So everybody wants to give you money, wants transparency. They want accountability. They want to understand exactly what you're going to do with the money, how you're going to use it, and who the ultimate beneficiaries are. There's no institution that wants the administrators to benefit from the resources they want to put into sports. If they are sure that is the athletes who will be the ultimate beneficiaries, then they are likely to support. That's why I said that I wanted a partnership, so that we'll sit down and discuss this and know that we need so much money, and this is the plan that we have to achieve that. I want a situation such that when you start with us, in 4 years' time at the Olympics, you can say that as a corporate body, you accompanied the GOC from this stage, and when we got to the Olympic Games, you were able to win a medal because of your partnership. That's what you have achieved. I don't want a situation where companies will say, look, if you win a gold medal, I'll give you $10,000 or $50,000. Or I'll prefer that we use the money to prepare the athletes, because the preparation is not 1 month, 2 months, it's 4 years. 4 years. So the funding, my experience with institutions, funding is very simple. One, they want transparency, as I said. They want to be sure who's going to benefit from the money. You're accountable. And once they understand that, then you can get an institution to back you. And you have a good plan. They buy into it, then they will accompany you all the way to early 2028. So, challenging, but also something we can do. Yes, we can do as GOC, but we can also do this with the support of His Excellency the President and the Ministry. Because some of these bodies understand what it is to give. But when the President speaks on behalf of the GOC and the Federation and the athletes, because there's a good plan that the President thinks that we should follow, it helps. Furthermore, I think that this lottery business, we must do it. We must find a way to do it. I mean, because it is a way of getting money which is sustainable over a period of time, which is not based upon ad hoc. I mean, you can plan with that kind of thing. Thirdly, under sports law.
When you say a lottery system, I mean, devise a new lottery for
sports, or use one of the existing ones for sports. We have to find a way. It's something we need to discuss. Some time ago, there were some Koreans who wanted to do a lottery in Ghana, 2016, 2015. I mean, we sat down with them. We had a really good program. And then after the elections in 2017, it fizzled out because they didn't follow up on it and it fizzled out. And I also left office. So Professor Rodu was the one who was championing that particular one at that time. Now, another thing is also, under the tax laws, when you donate to support tax. It's deductible expense.
Yeah.
Yes. It's something that we have not been using. I know government also needs money, but I'm sure government also understands that if some of that money will come from the corporate world to support sports so that they will be relieved of that responsibility, it will be useful.
I know for a fact that the minister, for example, has activated that conversation, in trying to get the finance ministry and all of those involved for that tax element, for corporate Ghana. I know he's initiated some conversations.
So that is a major thing that we can also push. So these are 3 areas I think we can work on, and then we can be able to, there's one which is very controversial, but I know there's what they call the sin tax in terms of things like alcohol, things like tobacco. I mean, they are not healthy.
Yeah.
So, okay, you tax them and use the resources there to provide for sports and make sure that at least they compensate for some of the things that they provide for us, which affects our health. In some countries, they do that. But it's something which is much bigger than what we are talking about. And we need the buy-in of the Minister for Finance, of course, and the President to be able to understand. But that's one area. But for me, that is more long-term. For what we are doing now, 4 years' time, I think the 3 things we have mentioned are areas that we should pursue.
Do you think the formation of a sports fund can also help?
Absolutely. I mean, a sports fund, the advantage of a sports fund is that when you have a
proper sports fund,
yes,
not the ones that have come and gone.
Those ones, they were not sports funds. And I know that the manifesto provides for that kind of, the manifesto of the NDC provides for that. I'm aware of that. And that's something that I think we should push. Because, you see, the advantage of a sports fund is that means that the fund is for sports. And it's there. And it's available, dedicated. So you are sure that when it's needed, the transfer is done quickly. The minister doesn't have to go through many hoops to get it.
True.
So that is very important.
It's one of the things on the heart of Minister Kofi Adams.
Yes, and so it's one of the things that I'll be very glad to discuss with you and see how we can help to support that cause and make sure that it's done. Because I've heard him speak about it a couple of times in some engagements, and it's absolutely necessary. UK have more money than us. They have a sports fund. Because they understand that if you go to South Africa, they have a fund. Because the truth of the matter is that no country supports sports from only the consolidated fund. It's not possible. You can't do it. There's too much involved in that.
And the sports fund must have a consistent source.
Clear, very clear. Like how we do for the Get Fund, and how we do for, other funds that we are consistent. It's the guarantee. So you can project clearly how much will come into it.
You can collateralize it if you want to.
Yes. And use it for a part, because if for the Olympic Games, because of what you can do it leading to it, because you know that at the end of the day you'll be able to. So it's
a key one.
And for me, if we're able to do that, already government burden is reduced by about 70 to 80%. Clearly.
Do you think that the federations themselves, I mean, it's good you're going to have a conversation with the federations, but do you think over the years the federations themselves have been able to brand themselves well enough, position themselves well enough to attract corporate sponsorship?
Not enough, not at all, not enough. Look, as I said, attracting corporate sponsorship means more than just writing a letter. And the corporate world, they are more savvy now. Nowadays, they read the papers like everybody else. They hear of all the fights.
Social media.
They hear of this man's, chopped money, or they are fighting over something. So they are aware of all this that's going on. So to support you, it means that you must be more accountable, more transparent.
Squeaky
clean. Nobody wants to attach itself to. That's why one of the things that every good corporate body that supports sports looks out for is financing, how your finance, what is, and whether your athletes have been caught for cheating, doping, that betting, that kind of thing. It's important. So if you have athletes that...
You must pass the integrity test.
It is absolutely important. Otherwise, who's going to use it? Because who wants... MTN doesn't want their brand to be sold by some sports federation. No. So, but in the same light, MTN are happy to associate with a body that will make their brand better. So if they realize that your brand is such that it makes them better in the eyes of the Ghanaian public, why? They will associate with you. So it is a two-way thing. So, but we need to do more. That one, there's no doubt that we need to do much, much, much more. And that brings me to one of the problems, which is, as we said, the disunity. Too many disputes. So go to court. They have gone to court. Who wants to associate with a federation that is always in court? No. So we must find a way around that. And one of the things I think is that the statutes or constitutions of the federations must have an alternate dispute resolution mechanism. You must do it within this. You must start from there. If you are not happy, the GOC has one, which is like an appellate body that you can go to and then resolve your disputes. Because if your disputes are all in the public domain, always in the court, meanwhile the traditional courts, they are not equipped to deal with this kind of sport issue. In fact, I have not heard of any dispute that was started by a sports body that has ended. Somewhere along the line,
it's always protracted
and that kind of thing. So we need to get that in place, because if you want sponsorship, as you said, squeaky clean, and your brand, the brand of the corporate body must not be tainted. They don't want two people fighting over a federation when they are not interested in that kind of thing. So it's important that we project that as well. So yes, the federations, they are not doing enough, if I may put it that way. All of us, we are not doing enough to attract the kind of sponsorship that we want to attract, which will help us to brand ourselves properly. Look, the Olympic brand is one of the most distinguished and powerful brands in the world, globally. I mean, Olympic brand, sports brand. So we need to make sure that it's always up there, so that then it attracts people. The IOC doesn't struggle to get sponsorship. People they are queued to try and sponsor. The same thing must happen to us. People must be in a queue wanting to support us, because they know that in supporting us, they are associated with the Olympic brand. Excellence, respect, friendship. Those are the things that are important to them.
You know, one of the things about the Olympics that I think I love, it has a certain touch to humanity. And it's not just competing, it's not just the sport, but it has some touch to humanity. Oftentimes, do you feel that the GOC has done that here in Ghana to get people to believe that, look, it's not just about the sport, but it's all about humanity?
No, we haven't done enough. And we're not at all. One of the things I think about is, look, the three values I talked to you about: excellence, that's to be the best of the best in whatever area. Doesn't have to be sport, in whatever you do. Respect for yourself, respect for your neighbor, your friend, and then friendship, teamwork. Doesn't matter where you come from, cultural biases, whatever. And the Olympic family insists on that, not only for sports, but for you to affect your environment, your country. That's what. Can you imagine if all the young people in the second cycle institutions and first cycle institutions learn have this information, and that is part of their curriculum, as it were, and they understand that, look, as a young person, excellence is important, respect is important, friendship is important, and it's imbibed in them right from the beginning, and they grow with it. It will change our thinking and how we do things in the country, and therefore it affects not only sports, but all the things we do. Environment is key. There are many programs that IOC organizes in respect of environment. There are many things they do for culture. So there are several things we can do with various communities to bring out things that are important to the IOC, and which we, as the GOC, must also do in this country.
What's your plan for Amasaman?
Complete it. It's been there for some time now. I mean, it's been this. Amasaman was first acquired by Mr. B.T. Baba.
Yeah.
And it's been there for, Mr. B.T. Baba has been out of office for over 12 years now, and it's still not completed. So I need to complete it this year. We need to find a way of completing it, so that it's just the whole idea of Olymp Africa, as dreamt by the ANOCA, is a community thing, a community facility available to the community, so that the young people in that community can come there, play, have fun, share, learn sport.
But even though it's not completed, your predecessor did quite well with Amasaman.
Yes, they got a title to the place, and that kind of thing. They started the project. There have been some difficulties in the structures they are putting up, how to complete it, but that's something we want to finish. I mean, right now, yes, we have title to the land, which was an issue, So we have a land title to the land. But it's the structures on the land that we still have to complete, and that's the most important. I know the football pitch is being used, but there's a plan to have a multi-sports hall there. There's a plan for a tennis court, and there's a plan for a basketball court. These are not complete, so we need to complete these ones. There's some challenges with the surface there and that kind of thing, but something we need to complete and then make available fully to the community.
31 minutes after 5, if you just joined us, I'm talking to Mr. Richard Akpokavie. He's the newly elected president of the Ghana Olympic Committee, and he's my very special guest. We're talking about his plans for the Ghana Olympic Committee and moving forward, what he hopes to bring to the table as far as our Olympic dreams are concerned. So if you just joined us, that's the conversation we're having right here in the studio. We'll just take a short break, and then when we are back, I want to just pick his mind on a couple of things, including some consultations, whether indeed the Olympic Committee are consulted usually when stadiums are being constructed, because at some point, yes, they play a key role in those areas. We'll do this after the break.
Oh, jump on now. Go. Google me. At what time when you come back, where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car? No, I don't change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so. This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir. Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mindset be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. One pair way now open there. Hey. So where can I find this magical fuel? Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you. Hey, then make a finish my go be fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my go be inside? I give you info. Make a feel the go be too small. Go. Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
It all comes down to this. Can he make it?
Big moments need a big platform. Football.com has you covered. Bet live, cash out early, and get rewarded every week. Bet now on Football.com or via our app, the home of football betting. Betting can be addictive. This ad has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
This is the Champions League, and it's semi-final time. Arsenal are just 2 games away from their first Champions League final since 2006. But standing in their way, a hungry, high-flying Paris Saint-Germain side chasing their first taste of European glory. And where else would you rather be than back at the Republic Bar and Grill, where the vibes were electric when Arsenal humbled Real Madrid. Well, we are doing it again. Same place, bigger stakes, more drama. Republic Bar and Grill at Osu. Champions League semi-final first leg. Arsenal versus PSG. Kickoff at 7 p.m. Come early, grab a spot, and feel the energy.
This one, PSG wins sharp.
Arsenal will win 2-0.
PSG is winning, hands down. I'm tipping PSG.
This one, the Arsenal will win. No two ways about it, bro, Charlie.
This is more than a viewing party. It's a full-on football experience with Sporty FM, the voice of sport. Let's witness history together. It's time to level up your betting game. Welcome to the world of breathtaking odds, unmatched loyalty rewards, and lightning fast payouts. Get ready for an exciting variety of games and endless possibilities, all at your fingertips. Welcome to Africa's #1 gaming platform. Welcome to Sporty Bet. Download the Sporty Bet app now and discover a world of fascinating possibilities. Sporty Bet. Play with champions. Bet responsibly. Only 18 years plus. This advertisement is approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
This is Sporty FM.
Bonjour football fans, my name is Nathan Kwawe and join me every Thursday morning from 10:05 to 11 a.m. on Sporty FM for Inside French Football. This is where I give you the latest news, in-depth analysis, and exclusive hot stuff from the heart of French football. From Ligue 1 to French teams in Europe, we have you totally covered. Don't miss out every Thursday morning between 10:05 and 11 a.m. for Inside French Football, your one-stop shop for all things football from France. This is live on Sporty 106.1 FM. We are the voice of sport.
Dembele! Oh, wonderful! He's taken some time for Dembele to establish himself.
All right, welcome back. It's 36 minutes after 5, and Mr. Richard Akpokavie is my very special guest in the studio, and we're having a conversation with the Ghana Olympic Committee and all its associations, affiliates, and all that. Good evening to you, Mr. Chris Sylvie, if you're listening to us, and have a beautiful evening. Senior boy. Yeah, I will not misbehave. I will be all correct. Okay, so, Mr. President, now we are addressing you as Mr. President, though, because now you are rubbing shoulders with the President.
Only Mr. President is His Excellency the President. The rest of us, we are fake presidents.
One of the things I keep asking is whether the Ghana Olympic Committee at any given time is consulted when we are building edifices for sports in this country. I'm asking because we were here in 2008 when Accra Sports Stadium with the tartan tracks were all removed and purely football park was built for that purpose. Do you guys get consulted when such things are being done?
As far as I know, I'm not sure that we are consulted. But the federation is more than the GOC, because the federations are really the institutions that deal directly with the infrastructure, really. The GOC is more like coordinating. But for instance, if you're going to touch tartan tracks, you must be talking to the Ghana Athletics Association. You cannot do that without talking to them, because if you are removing it, you must discuss with them the alternatives. That is important. If you are putting up a stadium or a resource center, which also have sports facilities, you must be talking to. If it's a hockey pitch, you must talk to the Hockey Association. If it's tennis, you must talk to the Tennis Association. These are important.
But the GOC has an interest, doesn't it?
Yes, we do. We do. But once they get to the federation will get to us. Then it's easy to, or if they get to us, then we'll get to the federation. But it hardly happens. At least in my experience, I've been associated with the Olympic Committee since 2011. I've never been consulted, or nobody has come to us.
Because it's quite preposterous to understand that we built $145 million edifice at Boteman. No tartan tracks. No, it's just for a couple of sporting disciplines, and 120 million of such amounts could have built an proper Olympic size stadium. Does it bother you, some of these things?
Look, infrastructure is one of the key things for sports development in this country, and for me, the African Games was an opportunity. Yes, we got some infrastructure, but it was an opportunity to have gotten more than what we had. Because for all the countries, the Nigerian Abuja African Games, 2003, at least hockey, I know they had 2 new pitches, brand new. They had a new velodrome, they had an aquatic center, they had, they had several districts. So it's always an opportunity to build infrastructure, because it doesn't come often. No country will just get up and build stadium just because you need these competitions to be able to build infrastructure. So for me, it was a lost opportunity, because I think we would have done more than we did. Yes, I'm happy that, and at least now I can see a multi-sports hall, because I can't believe that before that there was no multi-sports hall in this country for badminton, table tennis, those kind of, apart from Atramani. Atramani was in the 60s or something.
Yeah.
I mean, so it is sad, but I think that we should do more than that.
But is it a bother to the GOC, for example, that in this country, obviously, you're looking forward to going to the Olympics, you're looking forward to winning medals, you're looking forward to the African Games, the Commonwealth Games, and all of that. we don't have like proper standard tartan tracks. Maybe apart from Legon, which recently, but even with the ones in Kumasi, the ones in Cape Coast, you can't even use proper timer to check, the timing of your athletes and all that. What's the GOC going to do about helping the federations to get these things being, done?
Now, infrastructure is huge investment. In the past, what we've said is that we've asked that governments must engage more with us to get this infrastructure. Look, for me, there are two things which, even Bukum, but okay, let me put it this way. The two main sporting disciplines that have won us laurels more than any other at the world level, boxing and athletics.
Yeah.
Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, is boxing and athletics, two main. So for me, if we won't do anything at all for any other sport, we must make sure that there are good gyms for boxing all over the country. Even not all over the country, even where we have boxing, like Accra and tartan tracks. It's almost unbelievable that Kumasi doesn't have a modern tartan track now. Because as you know, most of our athletes now are from Kumasi, Ashanti region. That's where Interco is properly Interco.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, of course, Cape Coast, Accra, but now Kumasi is the base.
It's a mecca,
complete of Interco. So if we don't have modern tartan tracks there now, how can the athletes perform?
Exactly.
How can they perform? So it is crucial. And one of the things, eventually, when we get the chance to meet with Minister Adams, is to discuss how we can rectify these things, what we can do to make sure that we're able to do some of these things right, so that in the future we'll be able to say that, look, we've done this and these are the things that we can achieve if we do the right things.
I'm sure you are not, you're quite aware of the frustrations in the system, especially when it has to do with the funding aspect.
Yes.
Close to an Olympics, close to a Commonwealth Games, close to an African Games. You're now trying to rally your athletes. Ministry of Finance hasn't released money and all of that. There's a lot of frustration and bureaucracy in that line of receiving money and all of that to support your athletes. What's your plan B?
My thinking, I mean, as I said, we'll be thinking more through this, but initially my own thinking is that I want to take this out of the hands of government. That's really the end game. To take this, maybe not completely, but to a large extent, out of the hands of government. I want a situation such that when the athletes are preparing for these games, I don't need to depend on government, because government will give me camping for only 2 weeks. That's been the story for the last 30 years or 40 years.
Yeah.
I don't want 2 weeks, because 2 weeks is nothing. I want the athletes, latest by beginning of next year, those preparing for Olympics should have a program moving. Ideally, Commonwealth Games is next year. Youth Olympics is next year. By now, at least we should know those who are representing us, at least for the Youth Olympics. We don't. What's the plan? How are we going to get the money? Those are the things that we are thinking about. And that's why one of the things I want to do urgently is to take this thing out of government hands. Look, and I need people like you to help us in that, because I think that we are not planning properly, and we are not approaching this thing professionally. We are just throwing things in the air. We need government support. We need corporate support. Corporate support is not from the media. You must approach them with a plan. They must know why you need to support them. They must be convinced. So we need to work towards that. And if we are able to do that, break it this time, then it will be easier for us going forward. So my whole agenda is, how do we get this funding thing out of the hands of central government, so that it has to come from the consulate fund? Because before, the Ministry of NSA will send a budget to Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Sports, to go to Ministry of Finance, go to Controller, Accountant General, before they release money. a long time.
The Olympics would have been over.
That's even if the money is available. So we need to, so that at least maybe if the minister knows that all he needs to be concerned about is the travel during the Olympics, how to transport the athletes to the Olympics, and because accommodations are guaranteed anyway, and that kind of thing. Then it's easier for the government to plan for that. So the preparation is something that we need to work at and take out of the hands of government as much as possible. Campaign. And a campaign, nobody comes nowadays for a long period. Yeah, periodic comes over a period of time. You do it if it's 2, 3, 4 times a year. The 4x100 athletes, for instance, they must every year they must have 2 or 3 competitions. Go to camp for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, have competition. Then they break, they go out, they come back. That's the way they can improve. But you don't need to go to central government for that. How can we, together with the Ghana Athletics Association, do that? Therefore, we have a plan. We go, okay, so the Advancing Enterprises wants to support us in that, what do you call it, respect. So we have a plan. So government knows that, look, we are working. Okay, let us also concentrate on this, focus on this. And so it is very, very important that we move in such a way, calculated, deliberate, focused, with the support of the minister, with the support of His Excellency the President, to do this and get support of not only public, but more private companies who are making some profit in this country and who can afford to use part of that profit to support sports.
Would you require federations to, or would you probably draw up some KPIs for every federation?
That is part of the planning I was talking about. You want money for your athlete to go. You can't just be there, no plan, no. Wow. If you want, okay, how many athletes are you looking at boxing? How many athletes? You said 10. Okay, 10. What are their ranking? What have they done? What have they achieved so far? Okay, now, what I expect, you have African Championships this year. Tell me, what the performance going to be like? Where do you want them to be? Medal zone? Wherever. Let's see. Next year they have Commonwealth. Where do you want them to be? So that every year we are measuring performance and say that, okay, we've reached our target. And therefore we can trigger funding for the next year. If you don't meet your target, then we must do more. If you are going to keep to the program, then what are you going to do to make sure that you make up for what you lost last year and to reach them? Otherwise, you lose your funding. We must be more professional about it. It's not easy, but unless we start along that path, we'll always be in this situation where we'll come and cry. Oh, Fifi, nobody's supporting us, oh, we haven't gotten money. And that cry, the Ghanaians are tired of it.
Sporty FM.
They want you to tell them how you're solving the problem. And as I said, this is a problem that cannot be solved by one person, but that can be solved collaboratively between the state, GOC, the federations, and of course, NSC. Together, we plan. Together, we execute the plan. Together, we get people to support us who are prepared to support us only because they themselves have KPIs. They also have to meet targets, production targets. And therefore, they will not allow you to come to them without a plan and just come and take money. Then what are they achieving? So it's important that our federation heads, and that's what I want to do, start conscientizing, start making them realize that, look, we are no more living in a place where freebies are there. No, you have to plan, you have to execute, and you have to get results. And there are clear indicators of what will trigger the funding for you.
Mobile athletics, I keep bringing it back.
Yeah.
Mobile athletics was one of the biggest that we all had in this country. And at the point when we're doing mobile athletics, it was becoming, or probably was the selection process for major events where both local and foreign athletes came to compete. What are you going to do about local competitions like that? You know, because out of the Super Zoo and Co, you are getting a lot of these young boys coming up. You know, there are foreign athletes, Absamati and Co are also out there and all that. How do you get them to work together? How do you get them to compete among themselves to be able to get the final selections, to be able to travel for such events? And I'm sure that in the same vein, boxing will have elimination series, athletics have elimination series, all that. with the various federations?
Now, the federations, one of the things that the federations need to agree on is the selection process. Countries do it differently. Athletics, for instance, is much easier because it's performance-based. So if you, and right now the athletics world is such that if you run in the US or you run in New Zealand or you run in this thing, it's published worldwide. It can rank you. But what you talked about, the mobile thing, bringing them all together, is the system that the Americans use, for instance. So you can be St. Bolt if you don't qualify from that trials. You don't get to take part in the Olympics. That's how they use it. Now, athletics over the years have used a variety of this. I know the last competition they did when Professor Dodo was president, RLG sponsored something like that. So people came from all over the world to compete and that kind of thing. They chose people. That was some way back, 2013, 14, thereabouts. Yeah, but it's a conversation that we need to have with the federations again. Because apart from the fact that it's a venue for selection, it also adds to the buzz, to the vibe in the country. Because the vibe is important. The buzz is important. Because, look, if we want people to support us, one of the things we need to do better is our communication. And one of the things we need to do better is to get the whole of Ghana behind us when we are going for major competitions. So that people are talking. I mean, you know, they used to have what get Ghana there, give Ghana
gold, get Ghana there,
that kind of thing. It's something that we need to emphasize. So the communication needs to be there and get. So our conversation, part of what we are discussing and will be discussing, is how to get that vibe back and how to get federations to have a mix of ways they select athletes so that one, it is fair, it is transparent, and then gives opportunity for Ghanaians to feed into it and then get us what we want to.
Would you subscribe to, outsourcing in terms of outsourcing sponsorships? For example, somebody just sent me a message asking that if his company wants to help the GOC by way of looking for sponsorship for the GOC, and then needs like a mandate letter from GOC to say, we've actually mandated this company to also look for, it's not exclusive, to look for sponsorship for athletics. This company can look for sponsorship for this. Any particular advertising company or media buying house that has interest can approach you and say, we want to look for, maybe our client is interested in athletics, our client is interested in this, that kind of sporting event. Is the GOC open for such conversations?
Personally, I'm open for that conversation. And I mean, when we meet and we are discussing this, I'm going to urge my colleagues to also buy into that because
all they do is to find the sponsorship and take their commission.
That's all. And there are some people who are experts in that. So there's no reason why we shouldn't use them if we have to. Because if you are in this world, you will know that this thing is sometimes about networking too.
Yeah.
If I play golf with the chief executive of a company, have his ear, you may find it difficult getting access to him to even, pitch your proposal. But I can do that easily. And if I do that, then I'm able to get a sponsorship for me to get a person. Why not? The important thing is that it has to be done in such a way that it's transparent. Because, in the past, some of the problems we have had with that approach is that people think that it's an insider thing. I, for instance, as president of Olympic Committee, will go and get the sponsorship, and I'll say that I got it, and therefore the commission must come to me. That kind of thing. Once we eliminate that kind of conflict of interest thing, then I think it's a very good thing, and we should be encouraging people to do that if it will help us.
What's your plan for your foreign-based athletes?
The federations have always had good relationship with the foreign-based athletes. Now, and depending on the federation, they have different policies in terms of that. What we have said and what I would encourage is that every person who is a Ghanaian who is prepared to represent the country should have the opportunity to do so.
You have become like the GFA, looking for any name that has Kwi, Kwanzaa, Mensa.
No, but the truth of the matter is that if you have an athlete who is in New Zealand, who is performing, and who doesn't mind representing Ghana, then there's nothing wrong. The most important thing is that the commitment to the country is important. It's very, very important. For me, it's very, very important. One of the things, eventually, I'll be urging on the federation is that, look, patriotism is important. It is not, we shouldn't take it for granted. The fact that I want to wear a Ghanaian jersey does not mean I'm patriotic. That in itself doesn't signify patriotism. The person must be committed to do more than that. Wear and play as best as I can to make sure that Ghana benefits from it. So it's open, but we must also do it wisely. It's very important that, because there are some people who also are just using it as an opportunity for their own personal gains, and that's something we should avoid. It's very, very important. So it's something that we must be careful about, but we must also make sure that we have policies that help those who are really committed to want to help us to do that.
Because sometimes, you see a certain Kwanzaa running for Israel, then you find some Owusu running for Belarus, then, and all of that. I mean, unless you embark on a drive to get them sensitized and change their sense of patriotism a bit, and then come and, compete for us. But it will also depend on how we treat the local ones that we have here, because if I'm a family with a brother or a sister or a daughter who is very good in athletics, and we are based in England or any other country for that matter, and I see that she has interest in competing for Ghana, and I look at how Azamati is being treated, or I look at how Ando is being treated, and they're not being treated fairly, I don't think I want to give my daughter a chance to run for Ghana.
True.
So it all needs to be part of the, like you said, polishing it up, making it look good to attract people who want to, because even with our football, there are so many of them who are not born here, who have never been here, and are playing for the national team. So you can probably position yourself that in such a way that most of the federations, if they find some of those people out there, can get them in, depending on the treatment that we also meet out. Because we've lost on a lot of players, for example, who came to play for Ghana once, and because we didn't treat them well, Charles Whittle and all those guys who didn't treat them well and they didn't come back. So we've had that experience. With the federations, do you think that it's time, we mentioned categorization earlier on before we round up.
Yes.
Do you think that it's time to put some in recreational statuses?
It's just the same categorization, really. But for me, and that is a very big but, it's like every competition. If you have a Premier League, you have the Championship or Division 1, and you have Division 2, everybody must know that if I achieve A, B, C, I can go to Division 1.
I get promotion, yeah.
If I do this, I can get to the Premiership. If you do that, and you don't put a sport permanently in a recreational situation, then that's fair. Because if you know that you can achieve it and you achieve it, why not? It should take you to the very top. If you are not also meeting your targets, then you know that you not get the support that you need to get. So it's a mix of things. But for me, the important thing is again transparency, accountability. People must know, understand, so that if I'm a federation president, I must know that if I want to get that status, I must do A, B, C, D. I must have. There are many things you can put in place. I must have proper governance structures. I must have a proper audited account. I must have a system of selection that is transparent. These are the things that all over the world you get people looking at. The athletes must achieve a certain, level of, success in whatever. If you are not getting a medal in Africa, it's reasonable to say that you won't get a medal in the world. Because Africa is a much smaller place. If you're not getting a medal, you're most likely you get a medal. So you must have benchmarks for this. So I totally agree that categorization is important because of the limited resources we have. But at the same time, we need to do it in such a way that it's transparent and every federation has the opportunity to be at the top.
All right. It's about 6 o'clock. And I'll have to release you, Mr. Akpokavie, just recently elected president. You've been there. You've been those positions, within the GOC and all of that. How are you going to use your international connections to help the GOC?
Well, the good thing about
because the new IOC president is from Namibia. Is it Namibia?
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. At least there's an African as an IOC.
Yes, an African. That's good.
How are you going to leverage on that relationship?
It helps because when people, it's easier to talk, easier to make your case, and the access is easier. and more than anybody, you know that the international sports world is really
it's a whole jungle.
It's a whole you must know how to navigate that jungle, otherwise you get strangled easily. And so, luckily for us, Ghana is a very respected member of that international sports fraternity. So we have goodwill. We have a good name. We must build on it. For the first time, the Paralympic African president is Ghanaian. Arm wrestling president, African arm wrestling is a Ghanaian. Rugby Africa is a Ghanaian. Baseball Africa is a Ghanaian. Hockey vice president is a Ghanaian. I mean, and now football second vice president is a Ghanaian. So it tells you that we are there. What other countries do differently, and which maybe we must also learn to do. If you go to Northern Africa, for instance, the state supports these people to go to the very top. So if the state has realized that KET has the potential to get to the
CAF presidency,
the state must support KET in terms of the plan, in terms of putting things in place so that because then the state also uses its international network to support you, apart from the fact that they make sure that they build structures in your country, which makes it open for people to come. So North Africa does that very well. About half of the African federations, their leaders are in North Africa. And it's because it's a deliberate policy. They're
intentional about
it. Yes, I mean, even those that they are on stipends to make sure that they're able to be there and do what they have to do. So it's something that we need to work at, and we need to get there.
Well, we'd like to wish you all the best, Mr. Akpokavie. So by the time your 4-year tenure would be over, there are a couple of events that Ghana will have to attend.
We have this year, we'll have the African Youth Games. We'll also have the African Schools Games. Next year, we have the Youth Olympics. We have the Commonwealth Games next year. We have the African Games in 2027, and then we have the Olympic Games. These are some of them.
Are you getting us medals in all of these?
I'll tell you that when I finish with my retreat.
Okay. we'll hold you to it.
Yes. When I finish my retreat, and the plan is ready, and we know how we are going to go out, fund the plan, I'll tell you.
Okay.
But just before I leave, just to say that we need people like you to drive the plan for us.
Okay.
Because we need people like you with your expertise, with your experience in the field, and with your influence to let corporate Ghana know that, look, it's a good thing to support, so that they will come on board, so that together, I keep emphasizing that. I want a situation where when we reach Olympics and we get a medal, we'll all say that we all contributed to this. It's not about one person, it's not about one federation. We all did because we supported a good cause. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
They should pay me small money. She should pay me small money.
No, first of all, we want me to do small. Then when the thing comes, I will see how it goes.
I'm sure if Christian Sylvie hears me saying you should pay me small money, you give me enough.
I will tell you what I do.
Richard, we just want to thank you very much for your time, and we wish you particularly well.
Thank you.
We wish you well, the plans you have, and everything that you intend to do for the various federations and for Ghana as president of the Olympic Committee. 4 years of being in office, we hope to have a great time with you and to see how is your opponent that you defeated in the election. How is he supporting you?
You mean the Kwaboche opponent?
Oh yes, I mean that's what Kwaboche.
I wanted to emphasize.
That's what Kwaboche there. We drink shakan. So whether we win or we don't win, we are part of it.
No, but Mike is
a great guy.
He's a great guy. So we had a conversation after the swearing. So we'll be tapping into everybody who's look. My policy is very simple. The 2025 GOC elections is over. Ended on Saturday.
That's right.
We are looking for any and everybody who is prepared to help, to assist, so that come LA Olympics, we can say that
the team won.
That is all.
That's all.
It's Team GOC.
Yeah.
It's not Team Akpokavie, it's not Team Agri, it's not Team nobody. It's Team GOC. There'll be some who will be strikers, some will be the midfield, some will be the defender, some will be on the bench and come in. At the end of the day, we are all members of that team. Once we succeed as a team. So it's important that we all play a part. So rest assured, not only the federations, but the media people like you.
Yeah.
The medical people, the anti-doping people, the journalists. I mean, everybody. So rest assured, I'll be knocking on many doors. And Sporty, you invited me here.
Yeah, 24-hour sports channel. So as for us, anything that you want, we would,
Definitely.
We're just a phone call away from you.
And I have many friends here too.
Yes. Unfortunately, some of them are Liverpool people. Unfortunately,
I know.
Yes,
I know.
We have some enemies amongst us.
What can you do? for the sake of unity, you work with them.
Thank you so much.